All right. We're going to talk about a couple things today, and starting off with why LLMs can't really build software. I mean, we found that they do. This happens, and it works on a regular basis. Conrad Erwin is going to walk us through some details. What are some of the problems with this? With why LLMs can't really build software. Conrad says, hey, guess what? One of the things that he's been spending a lot of time doing is interviewing software engineers. This is a hard task, and there's no magic solution really in that process. Yes, you can evaluate skills. It's probably better to evaluate just communication styles and team fit. All right, you're going to have a good time working with this person. That is probably the most important thing to do during an interview. Technical skills can be figured out another time. You don't have to do that during the call itself. But working through problems is a good exercise to help identify communication skills and communication pattern styles. But it's given me some time to reflect on what effective software engineering is actually do. So what do engineers actually do? They have this thing called the software engineering loop. This is neat. This is the software engineering loop. That's a new thing. That's kind of novel to this article here. When you watch someone who knows what they're doing, you'll see them looping over the following steps. So this is the software engineering loop. Build a mental model of the requirements. Write code that hopefully does what you want to do with your requirements. Build a mental model of what the code actually does, and then identify the differences and update the code. So that's the loop. So it's a 4-step loop. So we build the requirements, write the code, read the code, and then fix the code. And then you do that over and over and over again. That totally makes sense. There's a lot of different ways to do these things, but the distinguishing factor of effective engineers is their ability to build and maintain clear mental models. Okay, so here's the premise. This is where humans have the upper hand, at least in this fashion of software engineering, compared to an LLM, where they might not have the same capabilities. So what about LLMs? To be fair, Conrad says LLMs are quite good at writing code. They're really good at writing code. They're reasonable and good at updating code when you identify the problem. So you have to identify the problem or identify what you want to have to update. And then these tools are really good. I found the same problem. Sometimes you can paste in an error, or sometimes you can describe what the problem is. They do a lot better, almost near perfect, if you already know what the problem is and kind of know what the fix is and ask the model to do it for you. They can also do these things with real software engineers do. They read the code, they write and run tests, add logging, and use a debugger. But what they can't do is maintain a clear mental model. So yeah, there's a... Hi, Helen. I do remember you. Welcome back. We're reading through some articles here. We're looking at why LLMs have a hard time building software. This is currently it describes what are the shortcomings of the models, and so we're walking through that right now. LLMs get endlessly confused. They assume that the code they write actually works. When the tests fail, they are guess-lefting whether to fix the code or the tests. Okay, yeah. So what's wrong? Like, is the test broken or is the code broken? That's kind of hard to tell. Even as a human, that's a hard thing to tell, right? You don't always know. I mean, unless you have the context up front. If you know what you've built, you will be able to intuit that there's something wrong with the code, or there's something wrong with the tests. Sometimes they just delete the whole lot and start over. I mean, that is kind of a good approach. And sometimes I've done that as a software engineer as well. This is exactly the opposite of what I want. So yeah, I mean, typically you want to just fix the actual problem and move forward. And so software engineers test their work as they go. Yes. There are a few times in more recent years, in the latter season years, when I've written some code for a project, pre-AI code gen, where I wrote the entire project and didn't even need to test it and worked out the gate. And that's just through. I mean, you're never supposed to do that, but I've done it and it works. And it's way better to test iteratively, continuously test, and have tests written for your code. When the tests fail, they can check in with their mental model because you already know what the code does. It's up here in your head. You decide whether to fix the code or fix the tests, or just gather more data before making a decision. That's a third thing you can do. I didn't even think of that. I always think of, if there's something wrong, we got to fix it now. But never really think too much about jumping in and finding what the actual problem is. When they get frustrated, they can go reach for help by talking things through, and sometimes they do delete all and start over, and other times they get a clear understanding of the problem. Right. So there's like the rubber ducking aspect of software engineering, where you can talk to someone and say, here's my problem, and I just need to talk to you about it. And then through talking it through with someone else and having them maybe ask you a few questions, you realize what the next step is. That's but soon, right? Will this change as models become more capable? So one of the LLMs have a challenge doing those types of tasks, and there's going to be some shortcomings coming up here. I bet we're gonna walk through. We'll change the models becoming more. They will. I mean, they're already good enough as they are, and just using a new skill. But I think it's going to require change in how the models are built and optimized. Yeah, because the models are optimized usually on the first prompt. They don't, because here it's a problem of exploding divergent paths. As you get deeper into context, it's hard for a model to learn from that, because there's a whole bunch of, hey, Andrew Williams, good to see you. Hi, we're walking through why LLMs have a hard time writing code, and what the current problem is with really good LLMs with contexts. So as the context window increases, it's hard when they're training the model and they want to optimize it. The divergent paths just explode exponentially, because the problems change so much deeper down into the context window that it becomes very challenging for the model to figure out what to do next. Because there's just so many different possible paths and you can't train. It's very difficult to train a model on all those paths. But it is really easy, and what they've done and what they're good at is training the model on solving that first step, that first prompt. Because the depth is one, right? You've only got one depth, one problem. And that's where you can use the AI models with the Claude Code, and Chat GPTs. If you have, the best way to do it is just have one task, work through that one task with the model, and then close that session and start a brand new session and go on to the next task. So one task at a time, because the models are really good at that first task. But if you just keep going and going and going, the model's output reduces in its quality dramatically, because the models haven't been trained to go that far deep yet. When a person runs into a problem, they are able to temporarily stash the full context, focus on resolving the issue, and then pop their mental stack to get back to the problem at hand. Yep, that's pretty straightforward. Humans are pretty good at that. They're also able to zoom out and focus on the big picture, allowing detail to temporarily disappear, diving into small pieces as necessary. We don't just keep adding more words to our context window because it would drive us mad. Okay, yeah. So that's the current thinking process of AI models, is just a continued stream of thought. Even if it wasn't too much context to deal with, we know that the current generative models suffer several issues directly impacting the ability to maintain clear mental models. Okay, yeah. So this is what we were talking about just a little bit earlier. The models have a problem with context omission. If you don't provide enough detail, then the model is going to have to search through it, I guess, in this case, writing code, right? Looking through your code base. So they're going to have to look through the code and find more details. Hey, Anas, good to see you. Happy to. Hi, hey, how's it going? We're reading through LLMs and why they have a hard time building software, and things that you can do with generative coding to make your life a lot better. These are the problems, but they're all overcomable. And with today's existing model, it just means you have to do a little bit extra work for now. The context window omission. So if you omit details and you're a little bit, you just forget certain aspects like file names, maybe function names and things like that. The model has to go and search for that, and it's going to have a hard time really identifying unless you provided enough clues. So you have to be specific. So the best way to solve that is just be specific. The file names, the function names, variable names, and any other kind of details surrounding what you want the task at hand to be. Recency bias. This is the biggest one. Most of us will open up a session and just keep going. You can't do that. The model is this is where the divergent path occurs. There's too many possibilities once you've gotten past the first couple of steps for these models to have been trained on. The depth is just too huge, and the compute is too high. And so they're really good. They're really, really good if you stay focused on one task and you don't jump over to the next one really quick. Can you share a link for the post? Yeah, I'll share a link right now. Let me do that really quick. Are welcome. So recency bias can be solved by just starting over with a new task. So one task at a time per session. So be specific, right? Be specific, and then only focus on that one task until you're done, and then start over. Hallucinations. Yes, this is another common problem with the LLMs. They just make up things, and if you're too vague, so you can give all the details you want and provide a full, excellent spec that covers what your outcome is. You can still be too vague. You need to be very specific and have as many details about what you imagine the outcome to be, and then there'll be less fuzziness. Hallucination kind of comes into, I guess, statistics. What is the highest probability? You will get the average. You will get the average, because it's what the system is doing, is they're trying to find the most likely outcome. And you'll get the average outcome if you're not specific enough. So that will provide the answer for you on that step. These are hopefully not insurmountable problems yet, because we just kind of walked through how to solve them. And being done on adding memory to let perform similar mental tricks us. Yeah. So that's kind of, because of how our memory works, we kind of think the AI works the same way, but it doesn't. So you have to think how to help it along the path. Unfortunately for now, they cannot, beyond a certain complexity, actually understand what's going on. Right, because they haven't been trained on that level of complexity yet. They cannot build software because they cannot maintain two similar mental models, identify differences, and figure out whether or not to update the code or the requirements. That's actually a good point, because you might have a change in the direction, and there'll still be lots of code artifacts that exist, and the AI might want to write new code, but it won't know if it needs to update or delete. It has to manage a lot, and there's a lot to do there. So you still have to just be very specific about what you're doing. So what now? Clearly, LLMs are useful to software engineers. I'm using them all the time. There's so much. Okay, listen to this. Check this out. This is one of the things that this happened just within a year. It hasn't even been a year yet, right? It hasn't even been a year, and we are in the space of how do we use these things without losing our skills. Because if you're a software engineer and you've been one for years, one of the things that you really love to do is write code. And now these machines, these AIs, have taken that fun part away, and it's sad now. And I mean, sad. You don't know where. How do you move forward with having fun throughout the day? Well, it turns out once you get good at these LLMs and the AIs to get the code that you are looking for, it also becomes fun, because it becomes a new challenge, and it's a new way to interact and write with code. So it does get better. It's just a steep entry into making it work for you, because it takes away the thing that was the most fun. They can quickly generate code, and they are excellent at synthesizing requirements for documentation. Yep. For some tasks, this is enough. The requirements are clear enough, and the problem's simple enough, and that can be done in a one-shot thing. And that's usually where you want to be. If you're not in this phase, if you're not within the one-shot part of it, then you're too broad. It's just too broad, or you're putting too many tasks or too much workload into the prompt. So you need to be very specific and laser focused about how you're going to accomplish it. That said, for anything non-trivial, they are not capable of maintaining enough context accuracy to iterate through a working solution. You, the software engineer, are responsible for ensuring that the requirements are clear and the code actually does what it purports to do. Like it actually does what you want it to do. That makes sense. That's your responsibility. Even if you're using an AI or writing the code yourself, that's still your responsibility. At Zed, we believe in a world where people and agents can collaborate together to build software, but we firmly believe that, at least for now, you are in the driver's seat and the LLM is just another tool. Yes, it is a tool. So think of it like this, as a big paintbrush, right? So on your keyboard, you can type. Each keystroke is sort of like a pixel on the screen. But with these LLMs, it's more like a paintbrush, like in Photoshop. So instead of like the pixel, like the pencil tool, you've got a paintbrush, which is a bunch of pixels all at once, and filter. It's a whole bunch of things like that. And then they're advertising for, try Zed today. You can download now. Yeah. So that's this was a great article. I liked walking through it because they did identify one of the biggest challenges with AI right now is the context, recency bias, and hallucination, all of which are you can overcome those. You can overcome them, right? So context window, let's go through this real quick one last time before we wrap up this article. If you don't provide enough details, like you need the function line, the function name, the file name, and then any other relevant files all within your prompt, then the AI is gonna have a hard time, even with, say, for example, it's got a really good retrieval augmentation indexing system. Then, Juan, hey Juan, good to see you. So ChatGPT-5 are not AGI. We got scammed. Yeah, wasn't that crazy? ChatGPT-5 we thought was going to be well, actually, they've got a secret hidden. They've got something that up their sleeves that they are the best at, and no one else is using it right now. But you're right, it's not AGI. They didn't do it, but they are focusing on something. They're focusing on something right now that they're the best at in the industry, but nobody's using them. No one's using it for them. It's crazy. I'll tell you what it is here in a second. Keith, hey Keith, how's it going? Keith Crosley. Hey there, Stephen. I've been really working with OpenAI Codex. OpenAI Codex, right? I like the full auto mode, like -- full auto. It's so nice because Claude Code is great, but there's a lot of points where you have to check in, and I don't always want to do that. And most of the time, I just want to do, like, from the command line, just codex space -- full auto space, and then I open the double quote, and then I type in what I want, and then I end the quote, and then pop that in, and then go off. And then it does it, and it's all good, and then we don't have to continue chatting. That's my favorite way to use Codex. Claude Code has something similar, but they want you to use it like in a Docker container to do full auto mode, and it's all extra work. I don't want to do it. I just want to paste a command and go, and that's what Codex is really good for. So Keith, you said that you're enjoying working with Codex. It is great. It really is. I use it. I have both installed in my system. When I have like a one-shot prompt that I know is pretty certain to take care of business, I immediately just use Codex for that. If I'm running a longer task and I need to do a little more deeper, then I'll use Claude. Keith, you say, I have a really big audio plugin repo going, and it just really keeps up. I don't mind chatting with it. That's great. That's really cool. So that's some good feedback in the internet sphere. There's been a lot of chatter about ChatGPT-5 and Codex being less good suddenly with the release of ChatGPT-5, but you're saying that you're having a really good experience with it. You know what? So am I. Like I've been having a great experience with it as well, and I haven't as much run into. I think what they're doing is they're trying to be super broad, right? They're trying tasks. Their benchmarks aren't the right benchmarks. I think we need a new kind of benchmarking, maybe working with an existing code base and providing very specific details that solve, when your prompt solves these challenges, then seeing how well the model works. I think that's a better benchmark because that's what the models have been trained on. They have not been trained on a huge, deep multitask situations because they just don't, there's not enough ability to do that yet. They're working on it, and that's their plan. And the models, they can get there, but they're not there yet. So for now, at least, you can get the best outcome just by focusing on one specific task per chat session and being very specifically focused about what you want it to achieve and what the goal is. And then you win. Yeah. So that's oh wait, Keith. All right. So GPT-5 sometimes needs to be called in to fix some of Codex's bugs. One tip is that it gets confused by submodules. Oh, like Git submodules where often the code isn't even there in the first place. I mean, yeah, you need to actually include the source code. Oh, for any of the modules you're using, or it gets dumb fast. Yeah, if the context isn't there, it won't know. It won't know how to interact other than any references from code that might be calling it within your code base that's within the main module. That totally makes sense, right? So yeah, absolutely. You're right. That's it needs enough context, and so that's part of the context omission part here. So yeah, it's solvable. Here's the deal. Totally right. Yep. It is totally solvable, and that's one of the things is, I mean, we were awed and inspired by the magic of these models, and they're just so cool. Sometimes we're just like, wow, I can't believe what it does, and so our happiness and our delight has overshadowed the amount of our expectations, the amount of work that we have to put in to actually, work with these models on a day-to-day basis. We want everything to be, it's not wrong. We want them to work magically into pure perfection with the least amount of effort on our parts. That's like the best possible outcome, right? We just want to boof, hit the keyboard and boom, the AI goes off and it does all the works and magically everything comes back exactly the way we want it. We want it like that. It totally makes sense. And we've had a couple of experiences where it kind of did that. And that's where our expectations are at. We're not totally there yet. And there's a few things that you just have to do, like Keith, like you were describing. We have to set the context models and context omission. We have to provide all the details that it needs. And we have to make sure that we're specific and not too broad. And we focus on one task per chat session. And you'll get exactly what you want almost every time. So that's the trick for today's. It's only really been about a year of this CodeGen new way to really build software, and it's already good. There's just a couple of things that, I know we really want it to work perfectly with magic. It's not quite there yet. We're almost there. So that was actually a really fun article to go through because it did highlight some of the why LLMs can't really build software. And it highlighted the main problems, but they're all overcomable, but it does require your work. You do have to put in effort. As much as we don't want to. I know we want to. I just wanted to say, talk to it and then go off and have it do everything magically. But you really have to focus, and there's still a lot of thinking that you have to do as the engineer still. So there's this other article. So we're going to switch over to this next article now. Let's see here. All right. I like this. Writing an extremely cursed piece of Python. This is a prompt that has been over the years since 2018 been passed into the various OpenAI models. They all come back with different responses, including they actually do write some cursed Python. And they understand the context of the word cursed and what that means in at least the year 2025 versus 2018 and what the differences is. They come back with different outcomes. Let's actually walk through this. So what would these AIs come back with when it comes to writing an extremely cursed piece of Python code? In 2018, the GPT-1, it says, only thing I can think of is that I have to go back to the house and tell the whole story. It doesn't know what's going on. It maybe it's never been trained on Python code. So maybe that's why GPT, why would we even ask this? Well, I guess they still have the model around. And so they came back to ask the old model, this question, write an extremely cursed piece of Python. And so the GPT-1, it doesn't know what that is. What are you talking about? I don't know what there is no such thing as a book. You think that I've lost it. No, I mean, I think it was all just a big silly joke. So it doesn't know what's going on. It doesn't know what was asked. It's like the first gen GPT. It can predict the next best possible word. That's what it's doing. That right? It doesn't know any more than that. But if we go over to the next version, GPT-2, it actually does write some Python. Look at that. Okay, hold on. All right, let's go back to the question. Write an extremely cursed piece of Python. And then 2019, GPT-2 already, it immediately jumped in and it was able to. So I will not treat it as an anonymous function. When I see CSPI, it's an identifier that names Python's object recovery mechanism. And the suffix CSPI is what regulations say must not appear in the object strings. Here's a function to predict when a user's designated manager is disabled. I don't know what's going on here. Are there some magic functions in here? Like what's going on here? First, I need to look this up really quick. CSPI Python. What is this? I'm curious about it really quick. What does it say? Well, CSPI in the context of Python can refer to several things, including the package or the library, synthetic control methods, REST API. It doesn't. Okay, for my guess here. Here's my guess. Here's what I'm thinking. Okay, I saw a thing. I had to take a peek at look at it. So I saw the video was going a little slow. I was trying a thing, but I can't run that thing at the same time as recording. So that answered that question. Like, there we go. Okay, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, so this CSPI Python doesn't really seem like it's a thing. I think even GPT-2 isn't that interested in understanding what this means yet. But it did. It said Python 2, Python 3 def, Py unaffiliated manager proxy when self-disabled 0, return def. So let me actually, I want to look at that. I want to look at this code. I think that's not really the best task because I'm pretty sure it's just a bunch of randomness here. But let's take a look here really quick. Let's see, by test.py. Nope. Let's get that. Let's see. Actually, pb based test.py. Okay. Here we go. Okay. I'm just going to walk through this really quick. Okay. What are we looking at here? Oh, interesting. Okay, so it's returning a function. Will this code even run? I don't even know. Okay, so interesting. Let's see. Let's try it. Let's see if it even runs. Obviously, this part needs to be commented out. Okay, so this kind of looks like, although I'm not sure about the win keyword here, and I don't know. Will this even compile? Let's see. Is there going to be self-disabled invalid syntax? Okay, so this is I think this is a problem, but GPT-2 did actually come back and came with some pretty interesting responses here. So I do think that's kind of interesting. It didn't get it right. I wonder if I can clean it up and get rid of those wins. Will this actually return anything? Also, this is a not defined function, but let's see. All right, disabled 0. So I have to say and then if, rather than, all right, because there's no win. And then def, you need to probably use a lambda here, or you can define, you can do it like this, I think, return py no paste. Let's see. Okay. If disablement, def return always. If return, maybe you can say this. I'm not sure if you can say it like that. Let's find out. So yeah, see, you have to. In Python, it likes it like this. If this, let's see, and then. All right, now I think we actually now is it valid? Yeah, okay, now it's valid syntax. So GPT-2 had a really hard time building anything that's realistic in Python. It just didn't work. It was kind of neat because it was thinking about using anonymous functions or returning a function. I thought that was kind of interesting. This latter function was a real pain to try to write, and let's see, I had to come up with enough ID syntax so that way it would work properly. Well, it didn't work. It just didn't work. So let's see here. So jump over. All right, so in 2021, Text DaVinci 001, Python has been known to be a cursed language. That's the response it came back with. It didn't even follow the prompt. Write an extremely cursed piece of Python. It didn't write anything. And I'm wondering if I guess it would, because a lot of, I'm just surprised that that's what it came back with. But it is interesting because this more on target. It is more on target with what the prompt is asking for. But although there was some Python that was written in GPT-2 here, it just didn't work. But at least it's talking about Python being a cursed language, so it's kind of neat. GPT-4 now we're at the GPT-4 phase, and we know it's going to write something, right? Or it will refuse to it. Oh, it refused. As an AI language model developed by OpenAI, I'm programmed to promote ethical AI use and adhere to responsible guidelines. It cannot provide you, with malicious code or cursed code. So it doesn't know. It doesn't get my context or our context of the word cursed, just being like, hey, we want it to. Obviously, it's not going to be malicious code. This is not malicious code. We're talking about just getting Python written that is difficult to read. But for the most part, it's just a huge nest of the code should work. Right? We want the code to work, but it's not working. In the case of the previous iteration, but it should be difficult to understand. That's kind of like what the idea around the word cursed is. It needs to be just difficult to read, but it should still work. Please, and so in this case, the model was over-indexed on safety, and it put too much emphasis on safety to the word cursed being sort of like a negative connotation, and then it meant that it would not provide us code because it would be harmful, because these are, nearby words. And so that's why the model was over indexed on that. And so it meant that it couldn't actually provide you any output. But now we're in the future. We're at today, GPT-5, and it did it. Not only did it do it, it also did it in a way that it looks like the code will work. And it only provided the code, which is exactly what we asked for. Let's try it out. I'm actually kind of curious to see what this does. And then once we get this, we'll be finished here. I'm actually really curious. I'm really curious to see, is this going to work? Will it even work? I think it's going to work. All right, let's pop open our window here. All right, let's close that. BB paste. All right, we'll say cursed.py. Oops. There we go. Now let's open that up by actually. Yeah. Okay. Let's take a look. Let's take a read here. Let's take a read through this code really quick. What is this cursed code that GPT-5 has given us? Built-ins, types. Okay, so now we're going to be using some of the magic functions or the double underscore functions. Well, I guess just the init. Is that it? We only use init? Okay. That's not anything crazy. This script is intentionally, spectacularly cursed. Do not use in real code. Okay. All right, let me set wrap so we can read it a little bit better. Any future import becomes a module. Oh, cursed loader. Okay. I see what's going on here. So we're really going to get some confusion going on here. Any future import becomes a module where every attribute equals len module name. Okay. Weird. So every attribute equals the length of the module name. Interesting. Okay, because we are using another double underscore magic function thing. So the module get attribute is only going to ever return the length, I guess in this case. So math.py 4. Interesting. So that's it. Oh, so here we go. Here's the name of self, which is the module name, and it's going to return that number. So math, in that case, is the module name, so it's going to return 4. This is an example. So if our module name is math, it's going to return 4. Makes sense. Okay, so, I mean, pretty cursed. Create module. What is this doing here? Okay, so we get our name, return module type. I don't know if we need this, an execute module. Interesting. Okay. Cursed finder. Let's go through cursed finder and see what's going on here. Find spec, self, full name, path none, target none. If full name in sys modules or name dot starts with built-ins or full name starts with frozen import lib, return none. Cursed finder. Interesting. System. Okay, so system meta path insert cursed finder. Does it use cursed loader? It does. Okay. So if full name, okay, return none. Otherwise, return lib spec from loader, full name, cursed loader, origin equals cursed. And so system metapath insert 0 cursed finder. All right. Number 2, print now evals the string you pass and prints the result. Okay, this is kind of interesting. For example, interesting. That's kind of neat, but also obviously you'd never want this in production. Well, built-ins. Oh, there we go. That's what the built-ins is doing. You can override built-ins. Look at that. So there's a bunch of different methods that are available to you globally in Python, and print is one of them. You can override print. This is a thing you can do. And so you can capture all the args, every single arg, and then, so that's what we're doing here. All right, so we've made ourselves a new function. It's a lambda. It captures all the arguments you pass it, and then it uses standard out to write, but it evals everything in, what is this? I need to see this on a line here. Here we go. Ripper eval join map string A. Okay. So it takes A, which is the first, I guess, an array, or and these are keyword args, but in this case it's probably just an array. So you can print something like this. You can print multiple things, and it's just going to concatenate that. So it gives you +2. If you do +3, and that should be plus, right, 4, 5, 6, 7. It would be 7. So it's probably doing that, is my guess. That's probably what's happening here. There's a lot more down here, isn't there? All right, let's keep going. We've got about 10 minutes left here. Okay. So we've overwritten our built-ins. No, we've written a product method, so sum is secretly a product. Oh, so it's going to multiply rather than sum. Oh, nice. Okay. Hi, Noor. Mohammed, Jim, it's great to see you. Hi, how's it going? We're currently going through a cursed piece of Python code that the AI has written, and it is right here. GPT-5, now that it's out, has actually followed the instructions. It actually wrote an extremely cursed piece of Python, and we're walking through what it wrote. We're reading through it, and we're understanding it. And this part, step 3, is just misdirection. I mean, you've got this sum function, which is a built-in, right? So you've got your print built in, right? You got your print built in here, and then you've got your sum built in, and we are changing them. So sum will no longer sum. It does a product, which multiplies. And so instead of adding, it'll multiply, that's a fun way to sum things. So number 4, within this context manager, len, all right, so here's another built-in, which is len, returns a random number. All right. Hey, Noor. Hey, I have just started bachelor's in computer science. Got any tips? Generative coding. Learn the best ways to use generative coding. Here's the deal. I've been in the industry for many years, and I've learned more in one sitting with AI than I ever have in one sitting all on my own. Interacting with the AIs and seeing how they generate code, I've just learned different things. Like, for example, something really simple as the timeout program. The timeout program. Did you know that there was such a thing called timeout in your terminal window? We're getting our context. Here we go. So timeout. I didn't even know this was a thing. Like, you can use this timeout 1, and then you write a program like echo hello, and it should take 1 second before, right? So maybe 10. Oh no, it'll time out. So if it takes too long that's right. If it takes too long, so say timeout 1, but we sleep 0.5, you'll see hello. But if we sleep 1.5, you won't see the hello. What? Hold on, wait. Oh, I did it wrong. Hold on 1 second. There. It still said hello. Wait. I know what I'm doing. I swear. All right, Noor, you said no. In terms of, let's see. Hold on. Man, timeout. Oops. No. In terms of generative coding, it seems I've still learned a lot from these AIs. Here, I'm just getting the syntax wrong. Run a command with the time limit. It's a time limit. Options, durations, command, arg. Okay. So, I need to do this, I think, and then we got it. Is it going to work now? I think it's going to work now. We should not see hello. When we run this command, we should not see hello. And boom, we don't see hello. It works. Okay. So I didn't realize there was this timeout function or this command in my terminal. This whole time, it's taken decades for me to realize that it was there. And it's so useful. Actually, before we pop back in, I'm curious if this Python, cursed Python is actually going to run. That's my fault. Hold on 1 second. I can fix that. There and nope. Back, boom. Okay. I'm pretty sure. There we go. Okay. That's cool, isn't it? It's gonna neat. Yeah. Okay, so it still has an error, and that might have just been a copy paste problem. Let's start over. We need to grab all this here. I want to make sure that it actually works. It should actually work. Okay. Let's do this again. PB paste cursed. All right, by cursed. All right. Is it going to work? Okay. So there is a syntax problem that is occurring here. 1 second. Okay, there is a syntax problem. And that actually came. So even on this page here, this is problematic. This is like if they're trying to advertise ChatGPT 5 as a like the next iteration of goodness, this should have at least returned something that worked. I mean, it is cursed and it is fun to walk through, but I think we can fix it. I think we can fix it here. So let's do that really quick. Let's fix it. This is on line 23. Let's say, hey, Keith, you say, I love that ultimately it just prints 42. Yeah, at least that seems it's the internet or the intent. Yeah, it is the intent. So that like at the very end, yep, print 42. If abyss, else print 42. This will not show. Yeah. I'm really curious. So we're almost there. We're almost through to understand at the end here. And I'm really curious to see where we get. I just want to make sure that it actually runs first. And just copying and pasting it straight up, it doesn't. So on line 23, we've got a problem. And I think this is it here. So set wrap. Let me just see. Okay. Oh, so all right. Parthajit. Hello. How's it going? We are currently looking through ChatGPT 5's cursed code. So it wrote an extremely cursed piece of Python, and we're walking through it right now. And it did have some syntax errors. So let's see if we can. Did we fix it? Is it going to work? Okay. There's more errors. So I actually wanted it to work. Now, is this? It's not. It's not actually working. Clippy would never overhype GPT-5. Yeah. Yeah. Understandable. It is, in this case, even on OpenAI's own website, they're advertising like the evolution of all their models, like over time. And they're like, this is where GPT-1 was. This is where GPT-2 was. It wrote some Python code, but it didn't work. We're not quite there yet. And then TextAventure 2 comes along and it says, Python has been known to be a cursed language. And it's at least, playing on some humor there, which is part of the picture. Then GPT-4 is over-indexed on harmful and malicious, with the keyword cursed being aligned, at least semantically or, through similarity to the word harmful and malicious. So it refuses to write it. And now GPT-5 at least understands that we just want entertainment. That's what this prompt is all about. We just want entertainment. We want an entertaining piece of code that works. It should work. It definitely should work, but it is difficult to read. And we are having some fun times reading through it right now. Part of the deal is it's not actually running, which it should at least run. And I'm reading through it, and it looks like, at least up until this point here, at least the first 30 lines of code, it looks fine to me. It looks fine. I don't see any problems other than, there being an issue here. So what I want to do is, let's keep going. Okay. Within this context manager, Ling returns a random. All right. So we're updating the choose Lin chaos, and it's updating the built-in. Interesting. So the built-in is going to be a random integer instead of Ling, like length of a string. Instead of it actually returning the actual length of the string, it's going to return a random number between 0 and 9999. So 1,000, right? It's going to be 1,000 different possibilities, but it's going to be random. All right, get attribute. Unknown names resolve to the number of underscores they contain. Okay, so we're defining double underscore get attribute and the name, and it's just going to return the count of underscores. Okay, so in this case, it would be 4, right? So you got 4 underscores there. All right, number 6. An object that eats everything always is falsy. Interesting. An abyss. And so you've got bool, call, getter, and reprer. What is reprer again? I just want to double check. This is the double underscore. Let's see here. For Python, what is this? Is a special method often referred to as dunder, right? The double underscore method, double underscore, provides developer-friendly string representation. Parthajit, you say, she's watching your stream. I realized it has been so long since I have written Python code. It feels alien to me now. Well, here's the deal. Don't worry. The code that we're looking through is extremely cursed Python code that was written specifically by ChatGPT 5. Instead of bro. Okay, yeah. Okay, so you typed BRK instead of bro mistakenly. That's totally fine. I was trying to say, what is that acronym? I don't even know what it is. Google's going to tell us. Here's what Google thinks of BRK. Google says can stand for several things, including breaking, and burglary. Oh, okay. And Berkshire Hathaway. Okay. Yeah, talking about finances and securities-based companies. Okay, so that's what BRK is. In case we wanted to know, we now know. All right, let's jump back here. So Parthagy, guess what? It's fine because you don't need to understand this Python code. It's intentionally curious because we called it cursed. Are you doing BTC trading? I was in your waking hours, and that's all you think about because your algorithm is running in the background. Is it working? Is it working? I don't know. I don't know if it's working. Did it crash? Is it running, but then it's actually the algorithm? My algorithm is flawed. If your algorithm is flawed, then you're losing money. So why you skipped? Oh yeah, I skipped because I'm trying to keep in context and stay clear of any keywords that are you think it's a stereotype. It's not. I'm just trying to keep focused on the topic at hand as much as possible without bringing in too many other kinds of conversations. Did you wipe out your account? Oh, no. So here's it's just, in a way, yeah, but I think I just stopped doing it because it was too stressful. It was way too stressful because it's something you're always thinking about and you're worrying about, and it's even worse. It's kind of worse than that in a way. It's too exciting, and you would say, "Hold on, wait a second. How is exciting bad? How is exciting a problem?" Because it's too exciting, and it just consumes you. It's just like, oh my God. It's just so much awesomeness. Sir, tell me, what can I learn from you? Well, there is arbitrage. And if you're talking about BTC stuff, you can do crypto trading and things like that with arbitrage. And it's really beneficial, not only to you, if you can get past of how exciting it is, but it is beneficial to the market as well because you stabilize the market. How do you make money now, sir? Well, right now, I have a day job that I'm avoiding. I'm ignoring right now. I have a task. I do have to go here pretty soon to actually go do the day job. I have a bunch of customers that are asking for implementation strategies. And here's the answer. I work at this company, PubNub. We're an API company that enables communication between apps on your phone. So all top 10 apps in the App Store today have built-in communication, and that's what we do. Chat messages, order delivery, the dot moving around like on a map, so many different things that we do. And this is what I work on, and this is what I do on my day job. Are you student? What course? What courses? A day job in this economy? Exactly, right? So here's, from a software engineering and other types of roles, the unemployment rate has jumped up quite high. So it is a problem. That's like finding diamonds. It is. Finding a job is like finding diamonds. It is, because the number of roles is actually shrinking. Temporarily, they're temporarily shrinking. They're going down because everyone is doing is writing all these AI applications, and there's just a giant mountain of growing AI applications, more, another one, and they're just like pumping out all these AI applications that we're all relying on a regular basis. And to some aspect, the code is disposable, so you can just dispose and then write a new one. But what it's doing is creating all this tech debt, and we're going to need humans around to help dig out all of that tech debt and to help maintain all those things going forward. So while it seems like things are shrinking now, there'll be an explosion here in the next couple of years. That's how it's always been. For every innovation and advancement in industry where automation has taken over, there's always been an explosion in new kinds of employment. So that's diamonds for now, right? And I am, see, gaming. Here's another one. So this is what I'm avoiding right now. I do have to go and eventually here and jump back to that. I will need to jump back into that. But for now, at least, what I want to do is wrap up reviewing this cursed piece of Python that came from ChatGPT 5. And I just want it to go. And it's not running. It doesn't run. And it's okay. I guess my expectation is that it should run. Oh, hey, I've heard about PubNub before. You guys provide chat API, right? You're correct. Yes. I'm human, not inhuman. Hello. Hi. Welcome into the streams. Good to see you. We're currently walking through some cursed Python code that ChatGPT-5 wrote, and we're understanding it. We're trying our best. We're trying our best to understand it. You really showing how LLM and its code, you are really showing how LLM, yeah. Well, because here's why. Because OpenAI, they're advertising this. They're showing the progress. So here's a prompt, right? Cursed Python code. ChatGPT-1 doesn't have any idea. Hey, Lorax, it's good to see you. I remember you from you last week. It's great to see you. Welcome back. We were walking through some Python code. Human, not inhuman. For what? To remember eyebrows. The best we can do is live our best lives, and off to the races. So OpenAI was advertising why it is so good. Basically, they're saying, we're so good. Look at how we've come from the very beginning to, it could barely understand till it actually, GPT-5 is amazing. And we're reading through the amazing right now. Is it amazing? Is it really amazing? That is the question. And so we're looking through it right now. We got to the step 6, which is the boilerplate. And I do believe, I want to double check this. Let's see here. Python cursed. It doesn't run because there's a problem, but I'm pretty sure that all the code up until this point should be good. Line 62, it says. Yeah, I think all of the boilerplate code is good. Let me just double check. Yeah, so the boilerplate looks good. It's just the code below it that we need to really review. All right, Sumit, how is PubNub useful for someone who is interested in AI or tech? So PubNub allows you to communicate between apps. So if you've got multi-user applications where users need to communicate to each other, or you want to see statuses of things in the real world, like an IoT device, whether something moved or a photo sensor, you can send that and transmit that information without having to worry about message loss, connectivity, IP addresses, or NATed firewalls or proxies, because we sort of create these dedicated connected tunnels to all the devices on the planet that are connected to us, and it makes it really easy for you to leverage that network to communicate with them. And so if you are trying to build applications that need to transmit information between devices in the real world, that's where you use PubNub, because we've got that tech, and it works in all networks, every single network, corporate firewalls. You don't need to expose IP addresses on your home network. You can install private connections in your server, and it will still work. It's amazing. And from an AI perspective, that's also really powerful, because you need to analyze and transmit information over the internet based on AI responses asynchronously, and PubNub's a good way to do that. Let's see. Yeah. So if you're interested, if you're building a multiplayer game or a chat app, or telemedicine, or you just need a way to send data from one place to another, that's what PubNub APIs are for. Okay, let's jump back to the code here really quick. We're really close, and then I'll have to jump out for doing actual work, because I have a lot of things that we actually have to do. So the problem came in here. I'm actually just kind of curious really quick, because it looks like we're really close. So it says line 23. Did we? Oh, right. We fixed that. See, redo. There we go. Okay, so we fixed line 23. And now, no, line 23 is fixed. We just fixed it. I swear. Okay. It was working. What did I do wrong? So I want to make sure we get this correct here. Obviously, we could use an AI to ask to fix it, but I want to fix it myself. I want to do it myself. Print. Where is that? Okay, so line 62 is where we have to go next. Here we go. Okay. So print. Yes. Okay. So print 4 underscores, unknown name, 4 underscores. So it should print. That's what it should print, but it's not printing it. Here, let's get rid of everything down here. Let's see if... okay. So it does get down to there, but this... Interesting. So it is printing the sum. Math, it prints math.py. Is it actually not... It's not doing what it says it's going to do. So it not only does it not work because it's got syntax errors, but it doesn't actually curse the code as much as we wanted it to, which is annoying. That's like, it's trying to advertise how good it is and how far they've come. And it should have written code that actually works, but it didn't. They didn't. All right. So let's just see here. Here's what we'll do. We'll see if we can get it to run here. All right. Let's see if we can get the AI to fix it for us. I wanted to do it myself, but we're running out of time and I have actual work that I got to go do. Actual things that need to happen. So let's see if it, all right. I'm curious. What does it say? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So it was just, in this case, what is it fixing? It looks like it's just, lines. So it's not too terrible. Oh, parentheses. Okay. So there's some missing or unmapped prints, but also it's using the globals, which it wasn't there before. Let's see if it's gonna run. Did you try to run node? No, it didn't. Okay. The issue persists because globals captures the globals. All right. Oh, actually, you know what? If it can't fix it, then this is, I think this is one way it could win. Oh no, is it going to fix it? Okay, it did fix it. Well, darn it. ChatGPT-5, come on. Let's see. Have you tried AI IDEs before, like Cursor, Warp, and the more recently Kiro? If yes, which one do you like the best? Cursor is great. Warp is also fine. I haven't tried Kiro. It sounds like a new good one. Kiro might be... Actually, let's look at that real quick. Parthagit. Let's check out Kiro. Let's do a quick look on the Kiro IDE. Let's see what this is. Okay. Well, it's sponsored. They cost money, so it's not for free. Preview. Let's see here. The AI IDE prototype for production. Oh, Kiro helps you do your best by... all right, so this... It looks exactly like Cursor. It looks the same as Cursor. And actually similar to Warp. But also because it's Visual Studio. It's just a fork of Visual Studio Code. It's just a pure fork of Visual Studio Code with some panels attached into it. So it's like, it's just a different flavor. But it looks cool. It looks fine. I like using just straight, I use Vim, I use Vi, I use Vim, and I like using Terminal. And that's the way I develop. So it totally, let's see if our cursed runs. And it does, but it doesn't in the way that we wanted it to. So I call this, so as a conclusion here, just walking through this really quick. ChatGPT 5, output. Oh, you're watching Praveen, Prana. Good to see you watching. It's 2 a.m. there. You're up. It's very late for you right now. Pranav, it is very late. 2 a.m. is sleeping hours. You're supposed to sleep. Kiro is free for now. I think the price is just there. It's made by AWS. Is it really? Kiro IDE AWS. Yeah, Kiro is an AI-powered integrated development environment, IDE, by Amazon Web Services. It's a fork of Visual Studio Code. It's what we were just saying. That's all what these IDEs are. They just forked Visual Studio Code because because Microsoft open sourced it, and it makes it really easy to create your own IDE, your own release of it. So yeah, so it probably runs off of as much as possible Amazon's Bedrock, right? Amazon has its own Bedrock, which is its LLM and AI serverless runtime, which makes it really easy to run models. Real coders use Vim. Yeah, well, I mean, Vim is just so good. It's just so satisfying. It's easy to navigating without having to use your eyes to navigate or scroll. You don't have to scroll as much. You can just exactly where you need to jump, you can jump. And that's the big win with Vim. You can also do that in Visual Studio Code. You can have a Vim mode where you can use keystrokes to navigate the code. So that's also beneficial. But I like jumping around between different paste buffers. Like I like to highlight different things on my screen and split my screen in different ways. So that way I can have different terminals. And it's really easy, and I never have to use my mouse because your mouse is imprecise. I mean, it's fun to use the mouse, but you have to pay attention to the screen and the cursor. But with a keyboard, you can close your eyes and you can just navigate just fine. Like there's no problems. You know exactly what's going on. So we went through this cursed Python code. It was interesting. It was fun, but there were issues. With Chaos-Link, I want to do this. I just want to see if it prints. I just want to play with it now. Is what I want to do. Here, let's just play with it. Let's comment everything out. Okay, I want to play with it. So it's going to print math.py, and it interpolates this. So it's got a REPL. All right. Parthajit, have you ever wondered, though, why did Microsoft open source Visual Studio Code? It's like one of the most powerful tools. They might be doing something shady. They are kind of, maybe. So it's fully open sourced because they wanted to win the developer game. And open source and free and good, or better than everything else, gets adopted. It straight up gets adopted by all developers. So that's what they were going for, is the developer mindshare. And they also acquired GitHub, which is another developer-focused thing. So they're on their way to continue on that trend. And I think that's their plan, is just winning developer mindshare. Sumit, what do you think? What math concepts are essential for being good in computer engineering? You don't need... so with computer engineering and math, you don't really need much math in computer science. In software engineering, you're mostly constructing flow control and loops, which have very little to do with math. And that's 99% of your code. You don't need math so much. There is ideas of calculus is kind of what software engineering is, just through iterations, like for loops with calculus. Though you still don't need that. You don't need that as a foundation. You can just jump right in, and you didn't ever know that you were using calculus when you were writing a for loop. You never knew this whole time. I didn't. I didn't even know. I just realized it afterward. For data analysis, though, it's a different story, and AI is a different story. So with data analysis, you need a little bit more math. You will need to understand aggregations, ways to represent data to provide meaning, and you still don't need a lot of math. But that's the next level up. But with AI, you need all the math. Like AI is hugely mathematical because it's statistics at that point, which requires a huge amount of investment into understanding math algorithms, because you're map multing, and you're using tangents and cosines, and you're calculating averages, and you're using multidimensional math. It's just a lot of math. So AI, yeah, all the math, all the statistics is what you need in math, with regression, linear regression, and then multidimensional regression. You like terminal as well. Parthajit, you like terminal as well. Statistics, probability, what is that? Is that it? Yeah. So statistics, probability, and calculus is necessary for AI, but not so much for data analysis and engineering, because for the most part, it's just list comprehension, flow control, iteration, and aggregation statements. You don't need a lot of math there. Parthagit, those who are most necessary for AI learning, as far as you know. Yeah. Also, linear algebra. Yep. For AI, you definitely need linear algebra. And that's basically what it is. For everything else, though, you really don't. You don't need math. I was surprised at how little. I'm like, I'm doing computer science in my. Why is all this math that I thought was going to be important to me in computer science not hardly ever used? It's just not. It's just kind of surprising that it's not. All right, I do got to jump here because I'm a little over time, but I'm going to play a little bit with this cursed Python code that Claude fixed. It does. It becomes 24 because it's the sum of a product, and it's not. Because normally, right? So if you do Python and we run this code like this, you get 9, not 24, right? Because you're summing these 4, 3, and 2 is 9. But we got 24 because we did some cursed Python tricks. Also, we're using print. And if we did print with this in the normal world, it's just going to print that string literally. It's just going to print it string. It's not going to evaluate it. So that's part of the cursed, which is kind of fun. Claude for the win. Yeah, you know what? It is in this case. Here's why. Here's why Claude won over GPT-5 today. This is why Claude won over GPT-5. Because OpenAI is currently advertising the evolution of how good their AI has become. Granted, it has come a long way, a very long way, and it's been very satisfying to see GPT-1 all the way up to GPT-5. Which did definitely write the code. But the code doesn't work. If you copy and paste it, it has syntax errors, which is problematic. And I don't think follows the spirit of what this is, right? The spirit of writing an extremely cursed piece of Python code is meant to confuse, be complex, but it should still work. And it should be fun, right? This is an entertaining task. So it's pretty cursed. It is, Keith, yeah, you're right. It is pretty cursed, but I agree on the example that it was bad on OpenAI side. Yeah, totally. It is. It's bad on OpenAI side because it should have at least worked without crashing, because that's the spirit of this prompt, is to say, hey, I want to have fun with the language, exercising its complex intricacies, using double underscores to override the built-ins, like a print statement, to execute code in strings, to which is now you've completely changed the language basically, and it works, it can work, but it was wrong, it was broken, and other than the syntax errors that it came out with, there was also some logic errors in this code. And so the reason why Claude won is because we asked it to fix the problems, and it fixed all the problems for us in one shot, in one prompt. So that's why Claude wins and OpenAI fails in this case. All right, so we're going to play with it a little bit more. I want to try this. What is it going to do? What if we say print this? It should be a random number, apparently, is what this says. It's going to print a random number. Let's try it. Is it going to print a random number? 5. Is it going to print another random number? 5. That's not random. That's not random. I don't count that as random. But what if we... Well, no. It should have been random, but it wasn't. So part of the curse code doesn't even work. But at least Claude made it run. Parthaji, OpenAI gives poor models for public usage and much better models for testing and marketing. That's what we've been finding out, right? Recently, there's been some... the release looked good initially, and then it got degraded over time because those better models are just economically not viable because they're so big and expensive to operate. that they had to, they have to offload. They want to still provide API responses with ChatGPT 5, but when they get overloaded and overwhelmed, instead of throwing errors, they just go into the lesser model, right? So they think they're hiding this from us. They think they're being clever, but we noticed it immediately. That when they get overloaded or overwhelmed, instead of just crashing or returning an error, they just run on smaller, easy to run models that give less good outputs. So that's what's happening. And that's why the ChatGPT hype is failed, is because they're the masters of their destiny. They've got, all the hype going for them, but they can't scale, and they've hit some limits. So that's what's happening there. And they just proved it. And they have this website here where they showed, that this piece of code that should have worked out the gate, and Claude Code fixed it. And it mostly works. And I did want it to see work a little bit with that random, because I thought that was the most funny thing. But it didn't. Although, I think it's fine. Let's try this one last one. Let's try print double underscore here real quick. print. We'll comment that out. Let's see what it comes back with. 4. Well, is that right? Yep. 4 underscores. Yes. So instead of printing 4 underscores, it just prints the number 4. All right. So Partha Elon will have a field day with GPT-5 hype dying. Yeah. Yep. That's definitely going to happen. He has to, because he's got Grok, right? He's got a competing AI company. So let's see here. One thing that I wanted to try before we go is I wanted to try multiple 4 plus, let's see, comma 2. Let's do 3. This should be 7. Based on the code I read, this should concatenate the strings, because there was this lambda function up here that, not that one, this one. No, this one. Wait, where was it? Where I think here, the built-in was print. Perfect. Curse print. We just didn't go far enough. It evals the code and it concatenates. It turns all, sure, this should be 7. This should work. Yeah, and he seems to have a generational hate for Sam Altman. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, kind of it's there because, he's had a lot of success in his past life where he was number 1, and Sam Altman is kind of like taking that spot. And so there's some, like, that, to be fair, does kind of suck all right, it's kind of unfortunate, and it's a bad feeling. So it's understandable, but you're right. It's 100% you're right. That's there. But it's understandable. There's a reason behind it. Okay, let's see if it does. Is it going to print 7? I think it's going to print 7. Is it going to print 7? And we will go through some other fun technology things. More Python, maybe some JavaScript, maybe some AI. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Maybe we'll play some more games. Yeah.